Hello, my name is Jim Bradley. I'm head of metadata and digital initiatives at Ball State University. University Libraries has been linked and has supported the Book Arts Collaborative since its inception, and I've served as the embedded librarian and instructor since 2018. We value this relationship with the collaborative, and I feel that the involvement of libraries and archives instills a tangible link to the book as an information object, and that it enhances the student's experience in conceptualizing the long history of printing and binding. Now, my role within the collaborative is not only to teach the tactile skills or the crafts of setting type, or the various manners in which one could sew together gatherings into a functional codex, be it a Coptic or a casebook. It also involves providing a sort of an additional gravitas to the concept of the book itself, which is almost inherent in the concept of libraries itself. So while we're teaching the craft of the binding of the book, I'm also demonstrating that these are the same skills that have been employed for centuries, presenting direct evidence from Ball State's special collections, that the manuscripts and the incunabulum employed some of the very same stitches that they are sewing. So I'm kind of connecting the needle and thread that's in their hands to the deep history of the book itself. The concept of the modern index in a modern book, for example, the very concept of the index as an information directory within another information source, being directly linked to the use of marginalia, scribes drawing tiny, often disembodied little hands swooping in from beyond the page to draw the reader's attention to an important passage, or to supply some notes or some commentary about the main text. And this practice was carried on, still drawing in the margins of printed books. And this occurred so frequently, in fact, that printing blocks called manicules were created and were in common use even prior to the 1500s. So it's sort of the original index finger, if you will. So direct connections to things that are recognizable in the modern times to the past are instrumental in considering the craft of bookbinding and of publishing in general. I concentrated on sewing the book, but also when teaching the students how to typeset, or how to, we want them to consider the importance of layout and font choices. And it's imperative in that process to draw them away from sort of a spell check, autocorrect, digital modern mindset. It's important for them to understand that the galley tray is linked to the analog galley proof, such as this one from our archives, which is the original unrevised galley proof for John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath. Galley proofs were created on the cheap very quickly, often with pages or sizes of paper that don't match up, wide margins so that they can facilitate sort of editor's marks or crowdsourcing the discovery and the correction of typesetting errors before or prior to the full print run. Proofreading being literally a group of people who were reading a proof copy. So we use these objects, other objects in the archives to familiarize students with a more novel or esoteric examples of historic publishing. Bejeweled and ornate bindings, such as the ones you see here, illustrious editions with gilded pages and fine artwork surrounding the printed text, novelty things such as four-edge paintings, which are visible only when fanning the text block, novelty bindings such as this little tiny edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, barely larger than your standard paperclip. And then also familiarity with artist books or things that stretch out the concept of what a book should be or could be, such as this collection called Please Plant This Book by the poet Richard Brautigan, which presents a folio of poems that are printed upon envelopes which contain the very seeds in which the poems themselves reference. So we want all of these concepts to come into play as the students begin to consider in the Book Arts Collaborative creating their annual publication, using the skills that they've learned both in typesetting and in binding, in creating an annual book, which is for sale at our annual Interabang conference. Here are two of our latest examples. Susan Neville's book, Light, which was published in 2018, possesses a rather unique double Belgian construction, which allows the book to sort of bloom when opened. So in addition to this sort of novel design for the sewing of the signatures or the design of the book itself, the students also made some very interesting choices in terms of layout and with the fonts or the letterpress woodblock imagery, and found ways to emphasize aspects of the author's words in a way that was unique and expressive, which was not too far distant from the author's original meaning. The next would be Kelsey Parker Everett's book, Defunct, Resurrection. This was published by the Book Arts in 2019. The book presents several brief poetic vignettes in tandem with watercolor illustrations painted by the author, images that were specifically created to accompany the text. And then once again, the overarching theme of the book, Defunct, is sort of symbolically, and in this case, literally, been sewn in to consideration of the binding of the pages themselves. So I'm very proud of the relationship that University Archives and Libraries has with the Book Arts Collaborative. And I found my involvement with the Book Arts Collaborative quite rewarding, both professionally and personally. And I found this to be the case with all of the librarians and archivists who have either been embedded in the lab as I am, or have prepared and presented archival sessions for the students over the past years. I certainly look forward to continuing the cooperation with the Book Arts Collaborative in the years to come. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Ray. Thank you.